him into the future.
Alright, so this is my review for Edge of Tomorrow. It's from this year. I really wanted to see it when it was in the theater, but just never got around to getting out to theater and seeing it. So I just recently able to watch it. I think it's about a week ago I watched it. But I've known about this movie since some point in its production. I remember it's kind of had a weird history, and it's still kind of going on with the name of the property for some reason. So it's based on a Japanese manga, which is like a graphic novel or a comic book, and the original title is called All You Need Is Kill. And that's originally what the title of the movie was too, which is an awesome title. I think they should have definitely gone with that and just kept the original title. But for some reason, they changed it to Edge of Tomorrow, maybe to give viewers a little bit more of the idea of the flashback, repeating days type thing. You know, the Edge of Tomorrow kind of gives that indication of something like that. But for whatever the reason, I think it was wrong. I don't think they should have changed it. I think All You Need Is Kill is one of the awesomest titles that they could have used, and they ruined it. But anyways. So I wanted to see this, and then it was getting really, really good reviews once it came out in theaters, and so it made me want to see it even more. And even though it was getting really good critical reviews and everybody that saw it said it was awesome, I think overall it kind of underperformed. But I think it was still a decent success, but I think people just think it was a bit of a failure because it's a Tom Cruise movie, and the expectations for his films are really high, and I think it actually got beat like the week that it was in theaters. Maybe I was in the second or third, so they just kind of viewed it as a bit of a box office failure. But it was getting really good word of mouth, and everybody that saw it said it was really good. So I was gonna see it regardless, but just made it better that people liked it that went to go see it. So the plot of the movie. It's set in the future right away. We get a little bit of backstory of what's happening to the Earth. There's been an alien invasion, and you're seeing this through like news reports. And so yeah, there's been an invasion by aliens. They land in Europe, and they're taking over slowly, just spreading across the whole world. And the only time that the Americans, or humans, I guess, I shouldn't say Americans. So the only time the humans have had any success is once they start building these exosuits. So they have these like mecha suits that they put on them all over their body. Looks kind of like what Matt Damon might have worn in Elysium, that recent sci-fi movie. But they get those suits, and then there's one soldier that's talked about, Rita, and she's played by Emily Blunt, who I'll get to in a little bit. But they call her the Angel of Verdun, and they just say, so this one person, one soldier with very limited training or anything like that, went out at Verdun and just killed hundreds of these aliens. They're called mimics. So that gives them hope. We kind of get all of this just pretty quickly through news stories and whatnot at the beginning of the movie. And then we start out, and Tom Cruise is the main actor, of course. His name is Cage. He's a major, and he works for the Army, but he's mostly just like a publicist. He's going around talking to news outlets, giving stories, giving interviews, and trying to spin everything positively to recruit people. That's basically what he's doing. And so that's what he's doing. And then he's going to get sent to, there's a big invasion planned for the beaches of Normandy, so you get this whole connection to D-Day invasion and World War II. They're going to invade Normandy and attack these mimics, and they think that they're going to be able to beat them. And they want Cage to go, and General Brigham is played by Brendan Gleeson. He tells him he's going to go. He doesn't really have a choice, and Cage tries to do whatever he can to get out of it, tries to bribe him, and doesn't work. And so eventually they just knock him out and send him over, ship him over to the beach, and he wakes up there. And so this is the first of many times that he's going to wake up on this beach. He goes out with this squad. They don't like him. He kind of thinks he's above all of them or whatever. But when he's on the beach, he gets attacked, and he's gonna get killed by one of these aliens, these mimics. But while he's dying, he gets bled on by the alien. It gets like in his face and his mouth, and that's when he wakes back up. So every day he's repeating starts on when he wakes up for the invasion, and this happens, we don't even know, hundreds and hundreds of times probably, and that's the whole plot of the story. So he has to figure out what's happening to him, and if anybody can help him. So he realizes he runs into Rita, the Angel of Verdun, or they call her, the soldiers call her Full Metal Bitch. It's kind of a funny, I guess, play on Full Metal Jacket. And kind of, since they wear those mecha suits, it's also kind of like a play on Alien, or I guess Aliens, when Sigourney Weaver's wearing that big mechanical loader. But anyways, so he finds her, she realizes that he's repeating, and she tells him to find her when he wakes up. And so, one thing that didn't really come across, I don't think, in a lot of the promotion and the trailer, especially for the one that I posted on my blog, which is the first trailer, is it's very moody, but there's a lot of humor in it, right? And especially in this part. So when Tom Cruise's character Cage is starting to train with Rita, it's really funny. And so that's what they're doing. He has to figure out ways to, first off, he has to figure out how to get like away from his squad, and then find her, and then he has to do that, repeatedly every single day. And they're going and they're trying to figure out how they can train together and how they can destroy these aliens. And there's a lot of humor in it because one of the little plot points, which I think a lot of the plot points are very well covered, is that you can only repeat if you die, so you can't be like injured. And so whenever Cage does get injured, Rita kills him, and they do it in a humorous way. And I don't know if I mentioned before, what I should have. Rita knows about what Cage is going through because it happened to her too before, and that was how she was able to kill all those mimics in Verdun, and how they. But to everybody else, it just seemed like it was one day. Just like she was this random soldier. She comes in, kills hundreds of these aliens, but for her, she repeated so many times, she was able to kill them all. So, that's the plot, and there's a lot more to it. With a movie like this, where you have time travel repeated, you're gonna have a lot more plot points, and I think they're handled extremely well. It's really easy to get a lot of plot holes and mistakes in time travel movies, and I think they handle them extremely well, and I was really, really surprised how much I liked the movie. I was hoping I would, and I did. I think I liked it. My expectations were getting met and exceeded, so it's really, really good. The only problems I had with the plot are towards the end, and it's just what you kind of might expect, and it's not really a spoiler. They just they give it like a Hollywood ending, and I think they changed it quite a bit from the source material. So in the book, the novel, it ends quite differently, and I think that would have been interesting way to end it. Who can say if it would have been better or not? But so that is one thing that they changed, and it's probably one of the only really weak point, I think, is maybe the ending. It's just the very, very end. I mean, it doesn't really ruin much of the movie at all. It's just the way they go with it. That part, and then also a little bit, I think, because we're introduced to. So Emily Blunt plays Rita, the Angel of Verdun, and she's like super badass. Like the images that you see of her before we even meet her are just really, really cool. And they're in some of the promotional materials. She's in her big mecha suit. She's got like a giant sword, which I was listening to a review of the movie, and I guess it's actually like a helicopter blade that she uses. It's just really cool. It's just really cool imagery of her. And then even when Cage goes to meet her the first couple times, she's just so like confident and just has this aura about her. She's really badass in general. And Emily Blunt's a really good actress. She was in Looper. That's probably the last thing you might recognize her from. And I think she's obviously a huge part in the movie, but they maybe kind of could have used her a bit more towards the end. I think after a while they just give most of the action the most of the importance to Tom Cruise's character Cage, which I guess you might kind of expect is, you know, a little sexism in some movies, and more importance put on Cage than Rita. That's not like a huge thing, though. Just like a little, maybe just a little pet peeve or a little thing that I noticed. But either way, so just a couple other things. So yeah, it's like it has that darkly comedic aspect to it of every time he repeats. You can't really imagine how many times he's been repeating to do all the things that they've done. It gets pretty mind-boggling if you try to think about all of it. And there's also this really interesting relationship, the more you think about it, between Cage and Rita. There's parts of their plan that they're trying to, you know, execute. And when you think about it, Cage is repeating this cycle probably hundreds of times, and there has to be some sort of relationship formed between him and Rita, and they don't get into that those details very much, but they hint at it, which I think is it's just something interesting to think about, because he's repeating so much with her, but it's not repeating for her. But then she mentions, you know, somebody else that, when you think about it, is probably somebody she knew when she was repeating hundreds of times. It's just a very interesting aspect of the whole time travel aspect that's nice to think about. So yeah, I like that. Again, there's just a couple questions about the ending. I'll let you get to that, though, because I'm going to highly recommend that you see this. I'm giving it a 4.5 out of 5. It's a great movie. It's great sci-fi, great action. It's funny. I didn't mention it's directed by Doug Liman, so probably recognize him the most for the first Bourne movie, The Bourne Identity. Another great action movie. It also has Christopher McQuarrie, who, as a writer for the screenplay, who works with Tom Cruise a lot. He just directed him and wrote the screenplay for Jack Reacher, his last movie, which I mentioned in my review, which I did not too long ago. So some of the players for director and writer. And just for movie connections, right away, the easiest one is going to be Groundhog Day. So this is what it is. This is Groundhog Day meets Saving Private Ryan and War of the Worlds. And maybe like Aliens, like I mentioned, some of the aspect of fighting the aliens. So you put all those together, that's kind of what you get. So you got the time travel repeating aspect of Groundhog Day, the literal invasion of Normandy from Saving Private Ryan and the war aspect, and then War of the Worlds, aliens, you know, that alien invasion, sci-fi aspect. Put all those together, and you get Edge of Tomorrow. Those are all really good movies, and this is a really good movie. I can see this being a very rewatchable movie. Watch it multiple times. So I guess the last thing I mentioned, I'm going to maybe talk about the trailers a little bit in some of my reviews. So for this one, like I'd mentioned before, I usually like the first trailer for a movie, and typically don't watch any after that, because it gives a lot more of the plot away after you watch repeated trailers. So this is the first one, the first trailer. I like it a lot. It has really moody music. I think it works very well in the trailer. It makes a good trailer, the music that's used, but it also gives a bit of a misrepresentation of what the actual movie is. That's a little more funny. There's a little more humor to it. So, good trailer, great movie. Not exactly what you're going to see. You know, it's not exactly representative. But, all in all, it works. So that'll be it. Oh yeah, one last thing, I guess. I also heard, to go along with the name changes, so it was All You Need Is Kill. Now it's called Edge of Tomorrow. I heard, and I don't know if this is true or not, but they were going to maybe change the name again to Live, Die, Repeat, which is it's the tagline of the movie, which is a weird thing to do. So you already changed the name once. Why would you do it a third time? It's just going to confuse people, and that's a weird thing. But anyways, that'll be it. All right.